Three, two, one, zero.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
What's up, Big 12 Nation? It's me, your boy, Clint Foster. It's Tuesday night in the great old US of A. That can mean only one thing. Time for another installment of the Biggest 12, your favorite Big 12 internet show. I'm coming to you live from Houston, Texas, and a hotel with my dog right there. That's Coconut. She may end up being our only guest today. We'll see what happens. Had a couple lined up, but we'll see. We'll see when and if they show up. So you can see my unholy t-shirt and hat combination. That can mean, of course, only one thing. It is Baylor night here on the Biggest 12, and potentially with no guests other than Coconut to keep me in check. I might just start saying bad things about the Baylor Bears. I mean, God forbid. But hey, before we get into any of that, make sure you're doing your due diligence as a subscriber to this show, right? If you're not already subscribed, you need to do it right now at Big 12 VOCFB on YouTube, Big 12 Voice of College Football. We got a lot of great shows on this channel, not just mine, all kinds of other stuff that if you are a Big 12 file, right, that you're going to want to be a part of. You're going to want to have this on your radar. And, the Big 12 every Tuesday night. Why wouldn't you want to do that? If I'm dedicated enough to bring you this show from a hotel in Houston, baby, you ought to be dedicated enough to hit that like and that subscribe button and tell everyone you know about it. I mean, I think that's the least that you can do. Coconut agrees. Okay, so also follow me on Twitter if you haven't already at Clint_Foster55. Follow me on YouTube at Clint Foster Comedy. Got my most recent video is of Baylor and TCU theming, and I'm hoping when I get home from Houston here in a couple of days that I will be able to. The plan is that I'm going to create a new video for y'all and get it up by this weekend. So that is on my immediate to-do list. So let's get into it. I mean, we'll see if anybody ends up joining us. In the meantime, it'll just be me and you talking about Baylor football. What has my life come to in the year of our Lord 2024? So please do be active in the chat. I will absolutely highlight your questions, your thoughts on those Baylor Bears, and watch the views already continue to tick down. Now we're talking about them. Ugh, get out of here. Okay, so we'll do the letter grade thing, right? I don't have anybody to ask right now, but if I had to assign, if I am putting myself in the shoes of a Baylor fan, in the penny loafers, I assume, of a Baylor fan, with a Dr. Pepper in my hand, and I'm giving a grade to Baylor's 2023 season, I mean, I'm giving it an F. Man, I don't know that there's a whole lot of reason for optimism. depending on which way you swing, this is either going to be one of our more fun Biggest 12s or our less fun Biggest 12s, because we've got a lot of teams that we've talked to like, oh man, there's so much to look forward to. We're competing for a conference title next year. The future is bright. Things are looking up. Last year was good, and we're going to build on it. That doesn't really feel like it's the case in Waco, right? At least not from a football perspective. Basketball, of course, they're doing great in basketball, as they always are. But football, not looking so great. I mean, you look back at the 2023 season, it was a 3-9 season with those 3 wins coming against Long Island, right? Long Island, UCF, which if you had to ascribe a high point of the season, that's probably what I would say was the high point of the season, that crazy 36-35 win over UCF in Orlando. And then, of course, beating the only team with less to be excited about than Baylor right now, Cincinnati, 32-29 in Cincinnati. That was it. Those were the high points. I mean, you go out with a loss to Texas. A lot more of us got that than we would care to admit. That's not good, having the internal scoreboard there. Losing to Texas State, less than ideal. I mean, Texas Tech, TCU, all the teams that you want to beat, none of those games went the way that you wanted them to. And then, of course, losses to Kansas State. Kansas State, of course, having a very good year. The close loss to West Virginia late in the year, I guess you could say that, if you're one of those all clouds have a silver lining folks, maybe you could say that was not a high point, but like a slightly better point. West Virginia had a very good year last year. But, I mean, geez, even losing to Houston, right? Houston's a team that I feel like has a positive trajectory moving forward, but that 25-24 overtime loss to Houston in Waco in front of a not big crowd. That's another thing about Baylor right now that's very troublesome, is the lack of attendance, looking like mid 90s and late 90s levels. Yeah, not a lot to be excited about. Now, the one thing that I look at last year that really makes me ponder is that Utah game. Baylor losing to Utah 20-13 at home at McLean Stadium. Utah needed a no-call pass interference to bail them out. Couldn't happen to a nicer fan base, getting a no-call pass interference going against them, actually. But that's just a little bit of 2024 bitterness that's seeping out to you there. But, I mean, that to me is the result that I look at, and I say, I don't know if that is, hey, Baylor played really good in that game, and maybe that's a positive that we can cling on to, or if it's a, hey, maybe Utah isn't as great as everyone seems to think that they are, right? If it was that razor thin of a margin. I mean, of course, early on in the year, there's a lot of crazy stuff that can happen in college football anyway, but especially in those first couple weeks as teams are like, getting a feel, getting back into football shape, getting back into that feel for the season. But, that's one that could be read a couple of different ways. I am a certified Utah hater. I tend to think that maybe Utah isn't that great, right? I mean, I think it's fair to assume that they can compete for the Big 12 title. This is a very wide open Big 12 title race, but I think that result against Baylor tells you more about Utah and its deficiencies in a Big 12 that gets a lot of needless hate from the national media than it does give you any optimism about Baylor moving forward. But maybe that's just me. Dave Aranda, there's no question that his seat is hot. And frankly, I hate to see it. I think Dave Aranda he appears to be a wonderful human being. And he's a great defensive coach, but something is just not clicking down there with Baylor. And I don't think any number of, internet setting Twitter appealing Gary Patterson hires as special assistants are going to turn the course that Baylor is heading down right now. But as you look forward to next season, I mean, we can do that. We can talk about this Baylor schedule coming up. Let's put it up on the screen here for us. Get a little ruminating going. As I look at this, here's the thing. The middle of the schedule is very tough, right? Of course, you're going to Utah at the beginning. Baylor getting, a little mini Mountain West experience here at Utah and versus Air Force there early on in September. That's going to be a tough game to travel to Utah. I would not expect Baylor to win that one. And I would expect them to beat Tarleton State. But Air Force is a good game. I mean, that's a team that Baylor lost to in Amon Carter Stadium in their bowl game, not this last year, but the year before. So, maybe Baylor's got a little extra oomph going into that game, but you got to play very disciplined defense you got to play assignment football if you're going to defend against that Air Force offense. And we'll find out real quick if Baylor's up to the task. At Colorado, that's not a gimme. Versus BYU at home, that's not a gimme, but that is a game that I'm excited about seeing more and more often, a potential rivalry flair there. But yeah, it's all these games in the middle. Iowa State, so you got back to – oh, my God. Y'all need to write a strongly worded email to Brett Yormark because this is just criminal what's happened. At Iowa State and at Texas Tech back-to-back before you come home to face Oklahoma State and TCU and then go on the road again to West Virginia. This is criminal. I mean, I don't care whether you're in Baylor's situation or not. That is a rough stretch here. I am struggling not to see that as an 0-5 stretch. I mean, and then you go to Houston, to a Houston that's been revitalized under Willie Fritz and is clearly hyped up to play an old Southwest Conference opponent. Before then you go to Kansas. I mean, this is y'all. Baylor may win one Big 12 game if they're lucky. I don't even know if they'll do that. I mean, Colorado, if it wasn't at Colorado and if it wasn't in September, I'd feel better about that. But they'll probably be at full strength. Travis Hunter will probably be there, and you're on the road in the high altitude. Man, I just like maybe you beat BYU at home, maybe. But even then, if things continue the way that they are, like how can you? It's not like you're going to have some crazy home field advantage. I mean, all the games last year were you were like trying to pay people to come to these games. I mean, it's listen. I'm a sports hater. Obviously I hate Baylor, right? The fact that I'm wearing this, I better get some new subscribers for wearing this hat. Okay, if I'm going to humiliate myself on the internet, I better be getting some new subscribers for this. Okay, but like even me as a hater, I'm like, it's tough. It's tough to watch what's going on down there because it's like the Baylor of today is not the Baylor of the early 2010s, right? The morally questionable Baylor of those days. Those kids at Baylor today have nothing to do with any of that, right? And this coaching staff has nothing to do with any of that. And Dave Aranda seems like a great guy. And it's unfortunate that, somebody who wants to do things the right way is not getting rewarded. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's rough. And I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted, right? As I look at the situation down there. But tell me what y'all are thinking. I mean, do you see any reason for optimism with Baylor moving forward? Do you see any reason for optimism with the schedule? I mean, I look at the schedule and I'm having a hard time seeing 3 wins in this schedule, man. Baylor may be a 2-win team next year, and then Dave Aranda's out. There's no way that you can continue to keep that guy on contract if Baylor turns in a similar result that they did this past season. That's just the nature of this beast. Don, yes, thank you for your thoughts and prayers here. Yes, I too am surprised that my head is not caught on fire. It is quite warm, though. I'll tell you that. It's quite warm underneath this hat. It's one thing to wear this hat for comedic purposes, right? But I'm trying to give Baylor an honest, fair shake here. This is new territory for me. But I'm not seeing a lot of reason for optimism, y'all. I'm not. Tell me if you are. Come on, chime in. Let me know what you're thinking. Yeah, it's not looking great. It's not looking great. I will offer y'all my thoughts on this whole Gary Patterson situation because I'm sure that's what a lot of y'all, that was the talk of the town there for like a day, in our 24-hour news cycle. And I'm sure some of you may be wondering what's going to think about Gary Patterson going to Baylor. I mean, it's kind of icky and it's kind of yucky, right? But so was him going to Texas. I mean, to be completely honest, him going to Texas was way more of a shock to the heart than this is because the Texas move has already happened. But here's the thing, like Gary Patterson's an adult. He wants to still be involved in coaching. I mean, like, via con Dios, bro. Do you. It doesn't, in my opinion, it does absolutely nothing to his legacy at TCU. He is still the winningest coach of all time at TCU. He will be for a very long time, if perhaps for always, the winningest coach in TCU history. Statue does not need to come down. I mean, TCU would not be in the Big 12. TCU would not be what it is today if it was not for Gary Patterson. I mean, it just is. It is what it is, right? I don't think he's going to really elevate Baylor's program all that much, especially as a special assistant. I'm sure he'll give them some things to consider and some things to work on and maybe get better. But yeah, it's like it is what it is. It is what it is. Hey, I'm seeing a couple of y'all jumping in right now. Hey, good to see you in the chat. Good to see you, Joey. Good to see you, Jackson. But yeah, let me know what y'all are thinking about Baylor. I mean, this is I've been talking for 15 minutes now, and I think I've already tapped the well dry pretty much without hearing from somebody else. Let's see. So I did have a game, but I don't know that y'all in the chat are necessarily going to be into playing it. It's way more geared towards a couple of live guests. Coconut, what are you thinking about Baylor? she's taking a nap now. She's like, all right, I'm bored by all of this. We're talking about Baylor entirely too much for my taste. You know what? Me too. Me too, Coco. Yes, lay your head back down. It's it's really only circumstantial that I've now had dogs in back-to-back episodes of the Biggest 12. But maybe another reason for y'all to subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, there's no shortage of dogs in the Biggest 12. We are a pro dog show here. Subscribe at Big 12 VOCFB. Do it right now. Don't wait, right? You don't. No time is promised. Okay, there's no time like the present, as Baylor will tell you, right? So you gotta make the most of every moment that you've got, and subscribe to the Biggest 12 here on YouTube. Yeah, y'all. That's just about all I got. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to think of a reason to be optimistic about Baylor, a reason, and I'm just coming up short. I really am. If you're not running up to West to get a kolache or two, it's not a lot of reason to smile down there in Waco. Okay, so all right, Joey. Yes. Is Dave on the hot seat? And if so, how hot? I mean, yeah, we were talking about this a second ago. There's no question in my mind. I believe that Dave Aranda is sitting on the hottest seat of any coach in the Big 12. I don't know how he couldn't be, right? So I guess here's the question. What sort of a result in 2024 keeps Dave Aranda from getting fired? Number one. And number two, Joey, thank you so much. Could he be fired midseason? I think so. Let me pull the schedule up again, so that we're all looking at the same thing here. I think that. Yeah. Well, okay. If he starts, let's see. If he starts 1-4, then maybe you do go ahead and fire him midseason. I don't know. I tend to think that firing coaches midseason tends to do more harm than good, right? In TCU's case, the only reason that Gary Patterson left midseason is because, as I understand it, there was a conversation of like, hey, we love everything you've done here. We want you to finish out the season strong, and but this is going to be the last go round. And he was kind of like, emotional in the moment and was like, hey, I'm not about that. Like, I'm just going to leave right now. Right. And that's why TCU was in the situation that it was in. I don't know. And I don't know that Baylor is the sort of team that would fire Dave Aranda midseason. But I mean, if Tarleton State is your only win, or God forbid, if you don't even win Tarleton State and you get through September with no wins, then maybe you go ahead and pull the trigger, because it ain't getting better. I mean, if you can't steal a win in these three, Air Force, Colorado, BYU, if you can't steal at least one win there, you ain't going to win any of these. I mean, let's be real. You're not. So I think that's a situation where Dave Aranda could get fired midseason. What could he do to not get fired? I think obviously if he's bowl eligible, he's safe. If he's bowl eligible, that's a huge if, though. Let's say absolute best case scenario, he beats Tarleton State, Air Force, Colorado, BYU, and TCU. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So if he wins 5 games, I think he's good. But if he only wins 4, I think he's still gone. Right? I think the question here is, can you beat TCU? Can you beat Houston? I think if he beats TCU, there's a real conversation of like, okay, let's keep him around. Let's see what happens. And that's assuming that he's not gone winless in September. I think if he goes winless in September, he's out. But if he wins a couple of games there, he beats TCU. Like, let's say he's got 4 wins in that scenario, then maybe you keep him around. But if it's the same result as last year, if it's worse than last year, which I think there's a very real possibility it could be, then I think Dave Aranda is on his way to his next job. And hey, here's the thing. Dude still knows football. Like, I don't know what is going on with Baylor. I don't know why it is so bad, why it is the way that it is. But I would still happily hire Dave Aranda to be a defensive coordinator. Happily. You know, I mean, some guys just don't translate as well as head coaches, right? It's a whole different role. There's a whole different bunch of responsibilities that come with that. And you know, so many coaches, unless you are a Gary Patterson who's like a micromanager, and that can really work to your detriment. I mean, it's just such a different vibe, right? And there's some guys there. I think there are so many guys who are excellent coordinators and ought to be happy just being that, right? Because you go and try to be a head coach and it's a whole different ball game, and it just doesn't work for you, right? I think Dave Aranda may be one of those guys, right? Maybe he has a much more of a palpable impact on young guys when they're developing, when he doesn't have all of that head coach nonsense also swirling around him, right? When he can just be a defensive coordinator. So, you know, I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Let's check in on some of these comments here. Okay, Tim, what are you thinking? The only way you should fire a coach midseason is if you do already have another coach in line. Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yes. But that's not what most programs do, right? A lot of them you'll have. I mean, now here is the reality, right? I think there is a very real scenario, and this will shake me to my very core. There is a very real scenario that if Dave Aranda gets fired midseason, that you've got Baylor interim coach Gary Patterson, and I don't know that any of us could handle that. We might just have to, you know, go ahead and vote for the meteor in 2024. Man, this is just we're too far gone at that point. There's no salvaging this world, this nation. It all will have gone to pot if that's what transpires. So he could be fired by first. I mean, hey, listen, if I'm a Baylor fan and Baylor loses to Tarleton State, I know I'm saying just do it. Get him out of here, right? I mean, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? If Baylor can't beat Tarleton State, right? Are they FBS now or are they FCS? I think they're FBS now at this point, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check on that. I mean, if Baylor loses to Tarleton State, wouldn't you fire him? I don't see that happening. I mean, I could see a world where Tarleton State makes it kind of a little uncomfortable, but I don't see them losing. But if they did, yeah, I think you have to go ahead and pull the trigger on that. Tarleton State football. Let's see. I'm pretty sure they're in the WAC, but I can't remember if the WAC is still a member of NCAA Division I and UAC football. But you know, people say Division I and it's FCS, right? Okay. No. They're FCS, right? Because their schedule, I'm looking at it right now. They got like Houston Baptist, Stephen F. Austin, McNeese, ACU. I think that's Duquesne, maybe. Yeah, they're FCS. So again, yeah, you lose to Tarleton State. It's just put us out of our misery, right? That's what you got to be saying. All right. So, all right, Tim. Let's just be honest here. Winning solves everything. If he goes like 8, well, yeah, of course. If he goes 8-4, they'll keep. Oh my God, if Baylor goes 8-4 with this schedule, give him Coach of the Year, man. Are you kidding me? Yes, and I don't think any Baylor fan would argue with that. I think every single Baylor fan, even that dude who walks around with the bear on his head and the gold chains. I don't know this guy, but you've seen this guy, right? Even he's like, yes, 8-4 Dave Aranda, sign me up, right? Like 5-year extension. Okay. But I don't see that happening, man. You tell me, Tim, or anybody in the comments, where you see 8 wins here, right? I mean, just the fact that these are all clumped together. I mean, give me a break, man. That's just ridiculous. Like, Brett Yormark's got it out for Baylor, right? That's, if I'm a Baylor fan, I'm like, why do you hate us? Why? What have we done recently? Okay, what have we done recently to make you hate us? Okay, I'm not talking about murders in line at Taco Bell. I'm not talking about, you know, questionable policing of sexual assault on campus 10 years ago. Okay, what have we done lately to make you hate us? Because this is not okay. This is not fair, right? I am here. I'm standing on business on behalf of Baylor that this is not fair, right? The only thing that could restore some joy to Baylor is if you let the live bear mascots start drinking Dr. Pepper again. All right, I'll sign the petition. I'll be the first one to sign the petition. Why can't they drink Dr. Pepper? All right, you can't tell me high fructose corn syrup is that different than honey. Okay, these are bears. If they want to drink Dr. Pepper, then let them. Okay, this is America after all. That's where I stand on it. Okay. Sounds a lot like the West Virginia shows before last season. Well, yeah, yeah, okay. Yes, Joey, that's fair. That's fair. And there could be a scenario where Baylor dramatically turns it around. But I guarantee you, though, Joe, that you could have told me last year, like, well, hey, but here we got a great quarterback that we're excited about. We got a great running back. We got solid line play that we're excited about. Good pieces on defense. Like, I don't see that stuff on Baylor's roster. Okay, and I'll give it another look. Right. Let's see. Anybody to be excited about. Right. Let's see. Not basketball. No. See. Google's like, we know you're not talking about Baylor football. Right. That this is not. Surely this is not what you're looking for. No, yes, I'm looking for Baylor football. Trust me, okay? All right. Geez Louise. Okay, who do we have here? So Blake Shapen, I think, and y'all might have to correct me. See, this would be a great time for me to have a Baylor guest on here. I think Blake Shapen transferred. That's the sort of thing that's kind of hard to keep track of. Let's see. Baylor. We're going to figure this out together. We're going to internet sleuth together and see if there's any reason to be excited about Baylor in 2024. Okay. So they've got some transfers, I believe, here. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I know this is thrilling internet show right now as I'm looking at a bunch of names that I don't recognize as far as Baylor recruiting is concerned. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not inspired. I didn't see anything last year that made me inspired. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I may be mistaken about this. I think that they had like a pretty good tight end, maybe, who's transferred to TCU. Like, what do you do with that? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, Joey. Yes, we're all just struggling here. We're all struggling through this Baylor show. If my guest had shown up, maybe this would be a little bit better. But we're just like, what do you do here, man? What do you do here? Okay. So, all right, Joe, what else did you say? What I mean is fans had no faith in Neil Brown and he proved them all wrong. Could Dave Aranda do that? Well, sure he could. But I don't think that he doesn't have a friendly deck of cards, right? He doesn't have a friendly schedule here. He doesn't have the pieces that Neil Brown had, right? I would go on record. If I had the show last year, I would have told you last year, like all these people predicting West Virginia to be last in the conference, it's absurd, right? They're not. I never thought that West Virginia would have been as good as they were this past year, but I think last in the conference is ridiculous, right? I would have guessed like, oh, okay, they're going to flirt with bowl eligibility, right? But, I also thought that TCU could be a dark horse for the conference, and that didn't work out very well at all. Hey, this is why we play the games. This is all just filling time, okay, as we run to catch up with the sun. We're just killing time until the season starts again. Or at least until the new college football video game comes out, and then we can continue to prognosticate and say, "What? I don't know about you, man, but Baylor just won back to back national championships in my world, as far as I'm concerned." Well, yeah, you know what? Hey, we've all been there. Okay, so yeah, that's where I'm at. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Baylor is not fun to root for these days. For this, just one man's outsider opinion, right? One man's outsider opinion. I'm gonna get rid of this hat. Come on, it's been long freaking enough. Much better. Now I can breathe. Right. Well, so there. Thank you all for tuning in. That's about all I can possibly say about the Baylor Bears. You know what? Here's what I will do. So next week, let me make sure that I got all my ducks in a row here. Let's see, it's the 12th. So next week is the 19th. Next week is Cincinnati week. Okay, so get excited about that one. We're going from one doldrum to another, one doom and gloom show to another one. Here's what I'll do for the last 15 minutes here. I'll go ahead and see if we can play this game with y'all. All right. So all of y'all watching on Twitter, all of y'all watching on YouTube, you are going to be the ones participating in this game. It's a Baylor, it's slightly Baylor themed game. Okay. So I don't want to deprive y'all of this, and I don't want to have deprived myself of the lost time of my life that I spent setting it up. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to play this game with y'all, and if you know the answer, fire it into the chat. All right. And we're just going to see what y'all know. So this game, what inspired me to put this game together is the horrific new trophy that TCU and Baylor play for in the game that some people will tell you is called the Blue Bonnet Battle. Look at this atrocity. Look at this horrific trophy. It's and I've seen it in person now. It's even more horrifying in person. That is, in fact, a detachable shield here that looks like it has watercolored blue bonnets on it, and it's just it's terrible. It'll always be the rivalry to me, and you will not change my mind. Okay, hashtag not my rivalry game name. Okay, the rivalry is literally perfect in every single way. This is a rivalry game that was revived after the death of the Southwest Conference. It is also between two historically religious schools, one of which a sect of Christianity that is famous for revivals. Okay, stop it with this blue bonnet battle stuff. There are no blue bonnets in the fall. They're happening right now. Enjoy them, by the way. If you're living in Texas, enjoy some blue bonnets. This is terrible. But anyway, this horrific abomination of a trophy inspired me to put a game together and to see how well, originally our guests, but now you, the viewing public, how well you know your obscure rivalry trophies. Okay, now several of these, if you're like me and have sunk several hours of your life into playing assorted NCAA football video games, a lot of these you're going to know right away, right? You're going to say, oh, yes, I have won that trophy several times. Okay, but some of these a little more obscure, right? Some of these I was like, wait, what? That's a trophy? So I'm watching the chat. People on Twitter play along, reply on the tweets if you know the trophy. And if you're in the chat, reply points to Gryffindor if you get it right. Okay. Okay. So as a for instance, this was going to be my, for example, one to like get our guests in the habit of playing the game. I would be like, okay, so if you saw this, it would be who plays for this trophy, right? And extra points if you know the name of the game, right? You can actually see the name of the game on this one. But who plays for this trophy? Twitter, chat. Come on, let's see who knows it. You can actually see most of these I've like cropped the teams out of, so that's less obvious, right? But this was our practice round, and this is also a further practice round to see if there's any kind of audience participation among the, what, over 60 of you that are watching at this exact moment. Come on, who knows this one? Put it in the chat. I know some of y'all are fans. Several of y'all are fans of these two schools. There we go. Look at that. TCU and Texas Tech. Okay, very good. It took a minute. But yes, so that's how it'll work, right? Points to Gryffindor. Rangers fan knows it, okay? And extra points if you know, hey, that's the West Texas Championship. The saddle, right? That's what TCU and Texas Tech play for. Okay, so let's see how well you people know your rivalry trophies. We'll play this Yeah, we'll play this until the end of the show, and then because then I gotta go pick up my wife from work. She's working down here in Houston, so and I'm on spring break, so that's why me and Coconut are just chilling. She's literally asleep again. So good for her. All right, next trophy. What is this? Who knows it? Tim, you were utterly and completely wrong. I don't know if that was in regard to the saddle, but if it was, then I mean, good guess, I guess. But come on, man, that's totally wrong. What are we looking at here? Who plays for this trophy? I'll give it 30 seconds to see if anybody knows. I need some like Jeopardy music. Let's see. Okay, we'll do like a. There we go. This is our waiting for you to respond music. Nobody knows it. Tim doesn't know it. Kidding. Okay, this is the Seminole War Canoe. It's actually a full-size canoe. Does that help anybody? No, it's not Minnesota, Joey. Not Minnesota. Much further south than that. All right, I'm going to take it that you give up. Florida and Miami historically played for the Seminole War Canoe. The more you know, right? Okay. I believe the last time they played was, I'd have to look it up, but this is what they've historically played for, the Seminole War Canoe. Yeah, you would think that it would be Florida State because Seminole, but it's actually Miami and Florida. So, and yeah, Florida State is in no way involved in the Seminole War Canoe. So, nobody gets any points on that one. Come on, people, be faster, be faster. Nice, Nebraska. Very good. Okay, next trophy for you. What are we looking at here? Big stick sitting on a trophy stand. Who knows it? I'm learning that so far, none of y'all were trying to win all of the rivalry trophies in NCAA football like I was. I was like trying to collect them all, okay? Fully in my obsessive compulsive Pokemon trainer bag there, man. Trying to get all of them, collect them all. New Mexico versus Nevada. Nope. Not even close. Not even close. Why, Joey? What about this? The stick says New Mexico and Nevada to you. It's not. Come on, Twitter, where you at? Nobody knows this one? Ah, Tim, you're killing me, bro. You're killing me, man. Okay. This is the Shillelagh Trophy. Not the jeweled shillelagh, but just the shillelagh. This is played between two Indiana schools. It's not a cactus, yeah. It's this is played between Notre Dame and Purdue. Notre Dame and Purdue play for the shillelagh. Notre Dame winning the majority of those. Well, you know, northeast of here, Rangers fan. Midwest is how most would describe it. Okay, wow, y'all are doing terrible. Y'all are really doing terrible. Okay, let's check another one out. What are we looking at here? We got a bronze rack of ribs. This game is called the Battle for the Bones. Everybody know the Battle for the Bones? Your boy is actually quite hungry looking at those. I'm ready for some dinner. Ready for some dinner. No guesses on the Battle for the Bones? I'm gonna give you all some more time. Let's see if you can figure this one out. Skeletons? Yeah, no. Arkansas LSU. Okay, that's a good guess. Their trophy actually is literally just the state of Arkansas and the state of Louisiana. Nice, Tim. Okay, this is actually, drum roll, please. UAB and Memphis. Okay, the UAB Blazers, University of Alabama, Birmingham, and the Memphis Tigers. The Battle of the Bones, right? So we're talking Memphis barbecue, Alabama barbecue. There you go. All right. Man, y'all, come on. See what you got. We'll go to another one. Little wooden turtle here. Who plays for our little wooden turtle? I might have to start giving y'all clues. So this is another. A lot of these trophies, actually, a lot of them are from the Big Ten. So draw what relevant conclusions you will that the Big Ten plays for a lot of weird rivalry trophies. Possibly too many. No, not too many. This is what makes college football beautiful. Okay, good guess, Tim, but Maryland is not involved. Maryland is not involved in this trophy at all. We got a couple more seconds, see if anybody chimes in. Okay, this is called the Illibuk Trophy, and it is played for between Ohio State and Illinois. Go figure, right? You're like, what? They have a rivalry? Well, they have a trophy, okay? Not to say that Illinois has won many of them. But there you go, the Illibuk. All right, we might not do, I have 20 of these. We might not do all of them just because this is not going as well as I hope. What are we looking at here? We got a bronze pig. Who plays for the bronze pig? Also known as the Floyd of Rosedale. Because, of course, it is. No guesses? None? Yes? No? Good guess, Joey. Good guess. Arkansas and A&M actually do not have a trophy, as far as I'm aware, despite, the rivalry going back into the Southwest Conference days. Oh, very close, Tim. Very close. The Floyd of Rosedale, and actually, let me make sure that I'm not speaking out of pocket here, is between Iowa and Minnesota. Okay, very close with Wisconsin. So, half a point to Hufflepuff there, right, or whatever. Iowa and Minnesota. It goes back to mayors of the town, bet on the game, and one of them won a prize pig, and so now they have a bronze one. Because of course, why not? Right, there you go. Hey, Tim. Good. You got halfway there. Okay. I'm going to actually skip ahead to a couple of the more weird ones. These are all weird. Who am I kidding? This is the brass spittoon. Plays for the brass spittoon. And I complain about the TCU Baylor Trophy, but we could be playing for an actual bucket of spit. So I guess, count your blessings, right? Anybody know who plays for the brass spittoon? This would have been so much fun if I actually had people here. What might have been? No guesses. on the brass spittoon. Fun fact, actually, my freshman year of college, just to fill a little time here, speaking of spittoons, I had a roommate who dipped incessantly and would leave dip cups all over the room, right? And one particular day, I was at home in between classes. I was eating lunch. I was eating Potbelly. I remember very well. And I was watching, I think, SportsCenter or something. And I reach for what I believe to be my Powerade. Cup feels the same. Uh-oh, this is warm and lumpy. Spew everywhere. I drank from one of his dip cups. And I proceeded to dry heave in the sink for a solid 5 minutes. And then we had a heated exchange whenever he got home from class. Jerk off these dip cups. I've had it, right? So, there you go. Story that goes with the brass platoon. Indiana is one of the teams. There you go, Joey. Indiana and Michigan State. Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. You should be very proud of yourself. Indiana and Michigan State, right? Because, of course, why wouldn't these two teams play for a brass spittoon? Let me go forward here. So we got two teams that play for an actual gun. Who are they? Anybody know? This is a 50 caliber Rocky Mountain Hawken rifle. Who plays for it? It is not West Virginia. I'll tell you that. Okay. Obviously, then we would have had Joe or Tim jump in here right away. Is this for real? Minnesota and Penn State? No, it's not them. Y'all are never going to get it, so I'm just going to tell you. This is Utah State and Wyoming that play for this gun. Yeah, good guess with Tennessee, volunteers. But no, Utah State and Wyoming. I'll give you one more. Actually, I'll give you two more because this one's just so absurd. This is the Bonham Trophy, which I learned existed last night. Y'all are never going to guess this because it's not a rivalry. This is just a game that we've given a trophy to for reason. Any guesses? That's a good guess. For those of you who know your Texas history, John Bonham is is that John Bonham? No, maybe John Bonham is a pirate. I feel like there was a guy named Bonham in Texas history. Hold on a minute. So Bonham is a city in Texas. Yeah, I guess it's named after a person. Hold on. Bonham, Texas history. Okay. James Bonham, defender of the Alamo. James Bonham. Yeah, John Bonham is the pirate. James Bonham. So anyway, the Bonham Trophy. You ready for it? Texas A&M and South Carolina. Maybe because I assume James Bonham was originally from South Carolina before he came to Texas. But there you go. They apparently play for a trophy, right? I don't think that anybody in South Carolina or at Texas A&M would tell you that this is a rivalry, but they play for a trophy. Let's see. We got a shovel here. We got a pot of crabs. Stocks. Okay. We'll do this one last. The $5 bits of broken chair. Any guesses as to who plays for the $5 bits of broken chair? Actually, I didn't crop this photo quite well enough. So anybody can read? Then I got to shut this thing down. Yep, there you go, Joey. Yes. Nebraska and Minnesota apparently play for a broken chair. And on the underside of this chair there are two $5 bills, but instead of Lincoln, one of them has Goldie the Gopher's head, and the other has the Nebraska Cornhusker. I don't know what you call it, his head on it. So there you go. Play for a broken chair, right? Drunk college football fans somewhere. Isn't that the birth of all good rivalry trophies? Drunk college football fans. That's why we love this sport, and it is a beautiful sport. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. This has been the Biggest 12. I just want to thank y'all again for joining me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Come on. At Big 12 Voice of College Football, at Big 12 VOCFB. You see it there running along the bottom of the screen. I, of course, have been Clint Foster. This has, of course, been the Biggest 12. Tune in next Tuesday for Cincinnati nights. All right. We're talking all things Skyline Chili and reasons for optimism for that school on the river. All right. A game that I hope to attend next year, by the way, on November 30th. A little chilly when the Frogs play Cincinnati for the first time since the Conference USA days. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, at Clint_Foster55. Thomas? Daddy? Oh my God, I finally found you. Okay. See you next Tuesday at Clint_Foster55 on Twitter or X if you swing that way. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Clint Foster Comedy. I hope to have a new video up for you this week, and I'm going to do everything within my power to do it. I've got the script written. I just got to shoot the thing and then edit it. But it should be a good one. It's going to be another rivalry draft. So, c'est magnifique. And, you know, if you follow any Baylor people, this should be your sign to unfollow them. Let's be real. Okay? Not a lot of reason for optimism with these folks. Get out of here. Okay, it's been a great one. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe. I hope your team wins. And go Big 12.